Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Edge Sports Network. Today, we got another interview for you guys. Part of our summer series that we've had on the site all summer here. We got Courtney Brown Jr., University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, guard and forward for the men's basketball team over there. Courtney, thanks so much for joining us here on the site today.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Great to have you on. Looking forward to this one. I know you're coming off your first season here with the program. I want to ask you just to start off here. How was season one of college basketball, making that transition from high school to college hoops? How'd you feel with the team, and how'd you just feel with this new pace of play?
Oh, yeah, the new pace of play was definitely something that took a little bit getting used to from the high school level. Guys are a lot faster. They're a lot stronger. You need to be a lot more focused on the court. There's a lot more that goes to the game in terms of preparing and recovery. But, yeah, it was a good overall first year. Me and the guys, we got along pretty well. It was probably one of the closest knit teams that I've ever been on. So, off the court, on the court, I felt like we were one. But, it didn't end up how we would like, but we're just using that as motivation for this upcoming next year.
No doubt about it. Good thing to use as motivation right there to propel yourself into this sophomore season here. I know you average about 5 points a game, 3 rebounds. You played in all 31 games. About 21 minutes per game here, so you got a good amount of play time. I always like to ask this at the beginning of the interview or close to it. What kind of made you choose UWM? I know you're from Minnesota, but what kind of led you to the school?
What kind of led me was, it's not too far away from home. It's not too close. It's about a 5-hour drive. On my visit, the whole coaching staff just kind of felt like a family. Everyone was all close together. They were joking with each other. It just kind of felt like home. I love the city. Kind of reminds me of, downtown Minneapolis, St. Paul. So we've got a great nightlife. When I went up there, met some of the dudes on the team, and they just seemed like real cool people and seemed like my new home.
For sure. You've made it your new home so far, and you fit in well there. I like to ask this too. I've obviously spent my fair share of time in Milwaukee so far. I know you have. What do you kind of like about the city so far? I know you mentioned it kind of reminds you of downtown Minneapolis, but I mean, what have you kind of been doing in the city? Staying busy on your off days and just, during the off season as well.
Well, one thing that I really liked about Milwaukee was that the beach is nearby. They got like 2 right on campus. That we would go run around. We go run to that. Usually we would just, we'd have practice in the morning and then go hang out with the guys, and we would just kind of look for, go to the beach, chill, go hoop, whatever's in town.
Exactly. I don't know about you, but when I first got out to Milwaukee, I was not aware they had a beach out there. I don't know if you knew that, but
yeah, they showed me on my visit.
Yeah, I would figure they did, but yeah, I mean, Milwaukee, not really the city you would think has a beach, but it was a nice bonus, I'd say. That definitely, definitely drew me to the city as well. So, I mean, we don't get much time at the beach out there with the weather we experience. But we gotta enjoy that August, August, September. Might be able to get a little bit in October if we get lucky, but usually by then it's getting pretty terrible out there. So I don't have to tell you anything about the weather, but yeah. So I know, in your first season here, you played a few games at guard, played a few games at forward. I know you play both spots. Where do you kind of feel more comfortable? Do you see yourself as more of a guard or a forward?
I feel I'm more comfortable, as a forward on the wing. Right around that wing area, shoot, or I can, catch and shoot, got the basket, that type of thing. Out on the wing.
For sure. I know it's very nice to kind of be in that position right there. It helps you and your team. You kind of get, this experience at every spot on the floor, very versatile, and just gives you that, all around experience. You got that in your first season. Not something a lot of guys really get, when they first get to college. Looking back on your first year here, what kind of things did you really take away from that, first experience in college basketball that you'll kind of carry with you through the remainder of your career here at UWM?
I'd say how you prepare for the game. Coach Baldwin really did a good job of, enforcing and getting it ingrained into our brains that how we prepare is going to dramatically affect how we perform.
Mm-hmm.
So all the scouting reports, what the players like to do, all that type of thing, the defensive assignments, there's just a lot more than just playing that goes into the game. Like a lot of, I think he said like the game's like 80% mental.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the things he said. So yeah, just the whole mental aspect to the game. That didn't really have that in high school.
Exactly. I know that's one thing I think that might be the toughest transition of it all, that mental aspect of it that you mentioned. And I know, coming far away, relatively far away, I know you're, pretty close to home, but making that move, out of the state into a whole new setting, environment, that can make it tough too, I'm sure. So it's nice to see that you adjusted well, got your feet wet this year. Looking back on the season, I mean, what was kind of, your favorite memory of the year? Just some things that stood out to you.
Favorite memory of the year? I would say when our point guard Tijan hit the game-winning layup against UIC, and then that was all over Sports Center. It was cool to see, Milwaukee and the Knicks. So yeah, that was awesome.
Great moment right there. And I mean, seeing Milwaukee on, ESPN and stuff, seeing your guys' team getting national coverage. How was that feeling? Because I mean, that's something I'm sure you kind of always wanted to see growing up. So for that to finally happen, for the first time, how was that experience for you?
It was great. I feel like it's just a start because we got so much more to do. I'm sure that's everyone's goal is to get our name out there, put Milwaukee on the map. So I'm sure it won't be the first time you see it. So.
Exactly. I love that confidence right there. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of you guys this year. I know I want to go back to your high school career too. I mean, you had a great high school career at East Ridge. You had over 1,000 points. You helped your team to the most successful season in program history there. You guys went 28-4, a 25-game win streak there. So I always like to ask this as well. I mean, what did high school really teach you? That's that last step before you get to college basketball, obviously. So what did you kind of learn from high school, and how did that prepare you for Division I basketball?
I would say the whole team aspect, going on that 25 win streak, like you said, it was just everyone was kind of flowing. We kind of learned how to play with each other, my little brother, and then we also had Ben Carlson and a couple other younger players, which we all knew each other's role. We kind of everyone stayed in their own lane, and we got it done. So bringing that over to the college aspect. Everyone's everyone's the best player on their team coming into college. And one thing that you notice in college is that everyone's got their own role or niche. So I'd say, just finding that key role and what you do good at to contribute to the team.
No doubt, no doubt. I mean, you guys were clicking in high school, and obviously, best season in program history. I'm sure that gives you some confidence for your first season of college basketball. And then I know, obviously, you saw that success in high school. There's a point in your high school career where you make the decision, okay, college basketball is the next step. Once you make that decision, what kind of training goes into, the off season or just the regular season to kind of get yourself ready for college basketball?
Well, definitely getting your stamina up because in college, things are a lot quicker. You got to learn to think on the move. And there's just going to be a lot more running. The courts are bigger. You don't want to be gassing out like one or two trips at the court.
Yeah.
Definitely making that adjustment. Watching film, learning what players do, that type of thing, because you're going to be doing a lot of that.
And I know, obviously, a different pace of play. I can only imagine the adjustment that you kind of have to make. And it's kind of in a quick time span, too. I mean, going from high school, the end of high school to the beginning of the college season. College season starts, early November. So in that fall there. So it is a bit of a quick turnaround. You only got those few months to prepare. I want to dip back to the very start of your basketball career here. If you remember, I mean, do you kind of remember your first memories of the game and how you kind of got introduced to it?
Like first?
Very first, yeah. So even prior to high school, just right at the beginning, when you were a kid.
Yeah. Really, all I can remember is we started early, probably around, like 4 or 5 with the local team. And my younger brother was always 2 grades lower, but he always played up with us. So that's kind of where it all started. Just getting that bond of playing together.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's
That
kind of
4 or 5 years.
yeah the best way to do it right there, especially
Yeah,
with the family too. I would imagine things got pretty competitive between you and your brother.
still is. Yes,
Still
sir.
is, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's usually how it always goes right there. And then I know, you know, relating to your family here, I know your dad spent some time for the Harlem Globetrotters as well.
Yep.
Obviously, world renowned. How was his impact on you just growing up as a kid and even still today?
It was huge. He was
Mm-hmm.
really the one that kind of guided me and my brother on the path that we needed to take in order to get us to this position. Because
Mm-hmm.
he's been through the whole process, so he knew how it worked
Mm-hmm.
with AAU and traveling and camps stuff like that. So he was a big impact. He showed us the way how to do things. He coached us up until about probably like 7th grade, and then 8th grade we kind of moved over to the high school program.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even after that, he stays. We still talk the game every single day, advice, all
Mm-hmm.
that type of. Still pretty much involved.
Great role model to have right there, and
You
I mean, he's played at that top level right there. So I'm sure you've taken a lot, from him, learned, a lot of skills mentally and physically to kind of implement in your game, and you've been showing it at UWM in your first season. Approaching sophomore year, I know you probably can't believe it. It's right around the corner here. I mean, we're getting there. I know it's crazy.
Yeah.
Summer winding down here. What are some goals that you have for yourself and for your team in year two?
For myself, making a bigger impact on the court,
Mm-hmm.
getting more people involved, that type of thing. For a team, we want to win the conference this year. I know that we're adding 2 new teams, Robert Morris and I think Purdue University Fort Wayne. I
Mm-hmm.
think, yep, we're adding to our conference. So definitely win the conference because I felt like we could have last year, but we just
Mm-hmm.
didn't execute enough, made a couple mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely winning the conference.
Great goal to have. And yeah, I know the Horizon League. I mean, it's kind of on the come up here. You guys are getting more
Yep,
competitive. Seems like
yes, sir.
year in and year out. So, definitely going to be a great season for you guys, I think, just competition wise and just, overall season wise. I always like to ask this to kind of wrap up the interview here. Just a couple fun questions and then, one question that you might have thought about, you might have not, but we'll get to that right at the end there. My first question for you here, if you could play alongside any NBA player, past or present, dead or alive, you got your choice at everyone that's ever played on an NBA basketball court here. Who would you pick and why?
Um, I'm gonna have to go with Shaq
There you go.
because if we need a bucket, we just dump it into him. One of the
Hmm.
most dominant players to ever play. I don't really see too many dudes being able to guard him. So
Hmm.
yeah, I thought we could complement each other pretty nice.
I think that'd be a good pick right there. And I mean, yeah, Shaq. I mean, you need a basket. He's the guy to go to.
Yes,
And
sir.
which Shaq would you take here? We taking Orlando Magic Shaq, Lakers Shaq.
I'm taking prime Lakers Shaq.
There you go. That's the one to go to. I think. I think that's a good choice right there. Certainly dominant with Kobe and um, I mean that duo right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
very
much
good.
unmatched. One of the best. So I think Shaq is definitely a good option. And then my second fun question for you here. What's a fun fact about you? Something people might not know.
Hmm. Let's see. I am a big music lover.
Favorite type of music now? Gotta ask.
Hip hop.
Hip
Yeah,
hop.
hip hop rap.
That's the
Yeah.
one to go with. Any favorite artists too? I mean, you gotta have a few favorite artists, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would say Kid Cudi. Okay.
That's a good one. That is a really good one. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
because I feel like not only is he good like instrumentals wise, but the lyrics. I mean, the Kid Cudi lyrics. I mean, that's
Yeah,
a
even
class.
back to his first albums,
Yo, for sure.
great.
I
Great.
think I gotta go. I'll hear your input on this afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stick with my favorite album from him. Definitely gotta go with Day and Night. I gotta hear yours now too.
Classic. Let's. Man, if I had to pick, um, I would probably go to, it was a song off of his first, I think his debut album,
Mm-hmm.
and it was called Cleveland is the Reason.
I think I've heard that one. I think I have heard that
Yeah,
one.
go listen to that.
I think that's it because that's one of, as you said, that's one of his early stuff right there. So
A lot
I
of people
think
don't know about that.
it's always the sleeper ones that are the best too.
Always.
So it always is. So I mean, I gotta give it to you. You got the talent on the court and the music taste.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's a good duo right there to have. So I mean, Courtney Brown Jr. bringing the music taste to the interview right here. I gotta say I love to see that. Um, the $1 million question here though to close up. I mean, what has basketball meant to you? If you could describe it in, a word, a phrase. I know this game's brought you so much, seems like throughout your entire life here. So if you could just kind of sum it up, wrap it up into, one quick sentence, what basketball has meant to you, how would you describe it?
Let me see. Basketball is meant to do. I've been doing it since we were little. My whole family's been about it. So yeah, I feel like that's what I was meant to do.
That's great. That's great right there. It just seems like a way of life for you that's kind of revolved around every aspect of your life, sipped in a family, community, sports, obviously. And, I mean, it's great to see, you're on the right path right here. I want to congratulate you on a great first season at UWM. Wishing you nothing but the best, upcoming here this season. Sure it's going to be a great year for you guys. Definitely competitive in a rising conference here in the Horizon League, as we kind of talked about. But Courtney Brown Jr., thanks so much for joining us here on the site today. Great to have you on. We'd always be glad to have you back.
All right, thank you.
No problem at all. We'll put your Twitter down below so everyone can go follow your career at UWM and beyond. We'll also put a link to UWM's basketball page, their website, so you guys can follow for news and updates on the team throughout the year and beyond as well. But guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Edge Sports Network. Another interview in our summer series. Wishing you guys nothing but the best of health and safety during this pandemic. We all hope you're hanging in there, staying safe. But guys, thanks so much for joining us. And as always, we'll see you guys next time.